So I sent out this text to everybody who has texted me on the mold phone. I was just kind of asking them like, what's going on with you? Do you have any updates? What's happening? And I got this text back. Guys, I read all of these texts, by the way. Like, I'm not kidding. I read them all. Okay. But I got this text back and I want to share it with you for two reasons. I'm going to read it to you right now and then I'm going to talk about it for a second. So it says, we moved out of our rental home for 11 months to go into a hotel where we stayed for 2 months. We're battling our landlord. We eventually moved into a new home in May, and my daughter's autistic behaviors are 1000% improved. She went from being severely speech delayed and almost nonverbal to no longer speech delayed. And my guess would be she's no longer meets the requirement for an ASD diagnosis. No mold updates, thank God, except that I wanted to say thank you for all of your free information on the podcast. You saved our lives, and my 3-year-old's life will be drastically different and better because of you. Forever grateful. All right. First off, this is why I do this stuff. The reason that I even have a mold phone, a text phone, is to try to give advice and help people along the way. The reason that I have a podcast is because I want this to happen. Like, there is so much information that I'm trying to give to everybody for free, and all you have to do is go listen to it, and you can dive in and do stuff, right? You don't have to have me come out, have my team come out. Like, there's a lot of tools that I'm trying to empower people with to do things like this. And so the reason that I'm saying all that is, one, I want everyone to understand that this is what can happen. This is the hopefulness that I want to push out. This is such a positive message. I teared up the first time I read this. I don't usually send these type of things out on social platforms and talk about them, but there's so many people that have their own health thing going on, right? Not everybody has a daughter who is nonverbal, thank God, but you all have your thing, right? And mold plays such a big part in all of that stuff. And I'm not saying mold is the reason for everything, obviously, but like, if you sort of figured it out and started going down the path that, like, yes, mold is something that's contributing, this is what can happen. This isn't the first story I have of something like this either. There's another 9-year-old that I was working with who moved into a house with a mold problem. Health dramatically just tanked, went from being active and playing pee-wee sports and stuff to literally being in a wheelchair and on a feeding tube. And then we understand there's a mold issue in their place. It wasn't even a significant one in terms of the amount of money it took to fix it. It's just where it was that caused the problem, and got it fixed. And within months, the kid bounced completely back and was playing all of his sports. Okay. These things can happen if you're sick, if your kids are sick, if you don't believe this stuff, if you are unsure if going down this road can have an effect. This is proof of how impactful your environment and your mold exposures and all that stuff is to your health conditions. Parentheses, if your health conditions are tied to mold issues, right? I obviously you got to put those pieces together. I can't do it for you, but there are so many things that mold contributes to, and this is neurological stuff we're talking about here, right? We're talking about not being able to talk. This isn't like basic stuff. This is neurological, massive brain impact stuff that's going on here. And within a short period of time, her words 1000% improved. All right. I want you guys to see this. I want you to soak this in. I want you to think about your situation. I want you to not feel the way that so many people feel, right? So many people feel that it's hopeless, that there's no escape, there's no recovery. Your life is going to be not optimal for the rest of your life. Guys, it's not true. It can come back. I've seen it come back over and over and over and over again. And this is a completely unprompted example. I didn't ask for people to send me success stories. I didn't ask for people who I knew had a good success story to send me something. I literally sent out a text to people and I said, hey, just want to check in on your mold situation. Is there anything I can do? This comes back, right? This is somebody who really had not talked to me a whole lot. They took the resources that I share. They went out, they did their homework, they worked, they did what they needed to do. They fought for their child, they fought for themselves, and they won. You can win. You can win this. Okay. So the first reason, like I said, is I want you guys to understand that this isn't like a dark hole of despair and fear mongering and this and that. Like, these things are happening, right? Like, this child was impacted by this stuff. Now, some people out there, when I put out information that says neurological issues can be tied to mold, say, oh, it's fear mongering. You're trying to scare us. No, I'm not. I'm trying to open your eyes to what could be happening so you could turn into this person and be able to come back and send me a text like this, even if you don't hire me. That's what happened here, right? So that's the first reason. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. There's a path to get there. This is an example of the path to get there. The second thing is the highlight. Again, there is so much information I've put out for you guys that I want you to absorb. The Mole Finders Radio podcast is 130 plus episodes. There's probably 100 plus hours of free education that I've given there. I know it's a lot to digest, right? There's a lot to get through. I get it. If you want to get into it, I have like a starter kit that we created. I'll put the link up here. You could download a starter's guide if you haven't gone into the podcast. Just go to this link, put in your info. I'll send you my favorite episodes for getting started, right? To get a feel for the different concepts and stuff. But dive into this stuff, eat it up. I record stuff every day for a reason. It's to get you guys information that you can use to better your lives. And this actually, it's not even close to the first time that someone has told me that I saved their life, but every time that it happens, it's pretty incredible. So I want this to be you. I want you to be this person and this girl.